Hey guys, so now we're doing order of operations. That basically is just the principle that it is important uh, in which order you do your various operations, be it exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Um, it matters whether you do one before the other. Okay, so first thing is this acronym, PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It's the way people sometimes remember that. So PEMDAS is the order of operations. The first thing you do are parentheses. The second thing is exponents. The third thing would be multiplication or division, and then addition or subtraction. Now, multiplication and division are really equivalent operations, all right? So you do them sequentially. So here we have a divide and a multiply. We're going to work left to right, so we'll do 14 divided by 7, then multiply by 5. So we just work left to right when it's multiplication, division. Or addition and subtraction, again, we just work left to right. Alright, so you may need to pause it or whatever to write those down. You should copy these down, what the acronym stands for. We'll save that over there for us. Alright, so now let's do some problems here. It just stands for the order of operations here, parentheses first, then exponents, then multiply, divide, then addition and subtraction. So here we have parentheses, we're going to do these first. Gives us 8, and each time I do some evaluation, I add or subtract or multiply some numbers, I rewrite everything that I didn't do anything with so I don't lose track of anything that I've done. Alright, you should do that as well. So 3 plus 5 is 8, and then times 5 plus 1. Now we do multiplication before we add, so we have 40 plus 1, and 40 plus 1 is 41. Here we have to multiply. Right? We got to multiply or divide before we add or subtract. So here we have to multiply before we subtract these. So I still have the 30 minus, the 5 times 4 is 20, and then plus 2. Now we have subtraction and addition, so we just work left to right because addition and subtraction are equivalent operations. So 30 minus 20 is 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2 is 12. Alright, here we have division and multiplication. So multiplication and division are equivalent operations here. So not that they do the same thing, but you don't do them one before the other necessarily. So 14 divided by 7, we work left to right here. So 14 divided by 7 is 2. I still have the times 5. And then minus 3. And I have a 3 squared, which I could have done right off the bat, but it wouldn't have changed what I did here. So I still have minus 3 squared is 9. So 2 times 5 is 10, minus 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. So here I got to do what's in the brackets first. And within those brackets I got another set of parentheses. So I got to do that very first. So we're going to rewrite everything I don't change. Brackets and parentheses are equivalent. And then I have 12 plus, this was 5 minus 2 all squared. Right? Whatever's in here gets squared. Whatever's in there though, 5 minus 2 equals a 3. So I have 3 squared. And that's still 12 plus whatever that was. So then I have 2 times 12 plus 3 squared is 9. 2 times, working in the parentheses, 12 plus 9 is 21. 2 times 21 is 42. So we're going to just zoom in a little here, go down. Down. Just kidding. There we go. So now there's a lot more. So the last one and then this one I would definitely expect you to show some work for. I would expect you to have to do a few steps out, not be able to do this in your heads. And I would want to see those steps. So when you're doing one with that fraction line like this, you can work on the top and work on the bottom until you get one fraction that can be reduced or maybe be reduced. So I'm going to affect the top and the bottom. Here I have to do exponents first. So I have 4 times 5 squared is 25. And then minus 4 times 3. So that's what I did to the top. And on the bottom, I got to work in the parentheses first, which means I have to multiply these before I add. So that's 4 times 5 is 20 plus 2. Alright, now on the top, I'm going to multiply and multiply because I got to multiply before I add. 4 times 25 is 100. 4 times 3 is 12, and those are still being subtracted. And then work in the parentheses here, so 4 times 22, because 20 plus 2 is 22. Now I simplify the top. That gives me 88. 4 times 22 on the bottom gives me 88, and that simplifies to a 1. Alright, so that's the answer for that. So those are all the order of operations type problems. Alright, and just the important thing is really to follow these steps. Do this first, then exponents, then multiply, divide, then add or subtract. Alright, here are your U-tries for those. And then we also are going to look at this. So evaluating. All evaluating means is what I just did before here, that was evaluating, but the numbers were already given. Another way to evaluate is if they're algebraic expressions where they tell you what the variables stand for. So here I have an algebraic expression, it's just variables, but it tells me that x is 2. So what I do is I write it near the variable so I know where it goes. Y is 3. So then what you're really doing is you're just substituting in. Alright, you're substituting in whatever the value is for the variable. So instead of x, I'm going to substitute in a 2. Instead of y, I substitute in a 3. Notice when I substitute it in, the variable is no longer there. So now, order of operations says I do parentheses or exponents before adding. So I have 2 plus 9, and then 2 plus 9 is 11. Alright, so we'll just put this over here to remind us. So now we've got x is 2, y is 3, and z is 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2 times 2 times 3, right? Because a 2y is like a 2 times y, which is the same as 2 times 3. And then 3 times 4. So we've got 2 times 3 is 6, plus 3 times 4 is 12. So now we add these two because they're in the parentheses. So we get 2 times 18, which is 36. Done. Now, these are fractions, but that's okay. Fractions are people too. We can plug those in. So we get 23 minus 4/5, and 4/5 is being added to 3/5. So these are like terms. I can add these. So I have 23 minus 7/5. So I need to get a common denominator here to add or subtract the 23 in this. So I want a denominator of 5. So this is like a 23 over 1. I'm going to multiply that by 5 over 5. 5 over 5 is equal to 1, so when I multiply it doesn't change it, but it gives me the common denominator. So that gives me 115 over 5 minus 7 over 5. 115 minus 7 is 108. That's over 5. There we go. That's your answer. And your answers can be fractions. That's just fine. I'm going to, you have this written down, so I'm going to get rid of that. And now we'll plug in the numbers. One last one. So 2, z is 4, y is 3, and z is 4. So now I'm going to rewrite it. 2 plus 4 over 3 plus 2 times 4. So like before, we can evaluate the top, evaluate the bottom, and then simplify if possible. So we evaluate the top, we get a 6. Evaluate the bottom, we have a 3 plus 8, so that's an 11 on the bottom. And we're done. Can't simplify it anymore. So here is the U-try that goes with those. Alright, so do the best you can. I will see you tomorrow, and any questions, write them down on the side or something so you don't forget to ask them, and take care.